Hey everybody, it's Vicky, Garden Evolution. I wanted to try to catch a quick video because it might storm, but it's very overcast and that's the best light. So let's see what's blooming. Starting over here at my terrace garden. Oh look, this plant that I don't remember the name of, I sheared it back to take off all of these little yellow seed heads, and I'm getting some new little flowers. So that's fun. I wasn't sure if that was going to happen. This blooms early in spring and looks like I can get a second flush if I just trim it back every year. So that's cool. My potato vine and wave petunias and the vinca, everything is starting to go over the side more now so that it's covering up the broken ledge a little bit. So liking that. This peach yarrow is looking amazing. I've got quite a bit of the Coleraine Red Monarda. I couldn't remember the name of that on my last video, but that's what it is. It's Coleraine Red. I like how tall and big those blooms are. Yeah. I just wish it wasn't so hidden behind my hibiscus. My hardy hibiscus here. This is going to eventually get red flowers as well, so it'll be like red and red if these are still blooming. This down here is just an annual that I added for some foliage color. I don't remember the name of it, but it's pretty. The Veronica is looking really good, purple. And I have some pink salvias up here that are starting to rebloom, getting settled in. Last time I showed you those was shortly after they had been planted, and they were, they were kind of stressed and not looking great. So, let's see. Daisies are blooming. This is not a great view because I'm down on the bottom and they are up on the second terrace, but I'll try to get an above, looking down view as well. Over here we've got the pincushion flower blooming. Oh, I skipped something. These asters, this is only the second year I've had them, so I don't really know what their normal behavior is, but I thought that these don't bloom until like mid to late summer, and that one's already giving me a couple blooms, so not really sure what's going on there, but it's welcome. I got this planted. This plant, I believe, is called Snow in Summer, and I think it gets yellow flowers, but I really bought it for the foliage. This pink yarrow is still looking beautiful. This dianthus, remember me telling you guys I didn't like it because it gets like the brown. Yeah, so unless you're going to come through and deadhead this all the time, this is what happens. It just gets these brown flowers. Anyway, that's okay. This sedum over here is blooming and looks really pretty. I think this one is called Dragon's Blood, if I remember correctly. But I just like that it is gonna get longer, hopefully, and cover that. This salvia, I still haven't cut this back because it's still looking kind of pretty, and I like the way that it goes with the pink yarrow. Behind that, you can barely see, I have some canna lilies. There's some that are kind of like a pinkish red, and then I have white ones over here. So those were obviously not placed very well. This is the first time I've grown those. I didn't realize what the size would be, and then also I didn't know my yarrow was going to be so tall this year. Last year it was half this height. So if I do those again, I will definitely have to move them to a different location. What is new? This is called an ice plant. It gets pink flowers. That and this one here is another one just recently added to my little sedum / rock garden type area. Oh, look at those Stachys humalo lamb's ear, really blooming now. Very pretty. Last time I showed you guys, they were just starting to come out. Here's another sedum coming into bloom. Just gorgeous. Maybe that one's the blood dragon or whatever. I don't remember the names of them, I'm sorry. Blue salvia looking pretty. I planted a whole nother section of blue salvia up here. It's behind this yellow flower and it kind of runs that way. It's really small right now, but there's 9 of them. So that's going to be a nice clump. I also transplanted this geum. It's like a reddish orange color. I transplanted that from my back where I didn't think it was getting enough sun. So hopefully it'll do better there. And then there's also one Walker's Low catmint planted right to the right of it. And I need to clip it back because it's got like some old bloom on it, and then hopefully it'll flush out again. But I just planted it. That's my very first catmint. I've been meaning to get some for a long time, so eventually I'll pick up more, but there was only one on discount and I didn't want to pay full price, so I just got the one. More yarrow over here. I'm trying to go fast but also not miss stuff. My tiger lilies are blooming up there, which looks really pretty. Love the added orange color to the garden. Oh, I did decide to cut this back. If you guys remember my last video, this is the purple Monarda. It's a very, very light purple. It's like the wild type bee balm, and I'm not a huge fan of it, to be honest. It gets powdery mildew and it gets super tall. I cut it down by like half before the blooms even opened because I was just too tired of it being huge the way it was, and it's starting to block like my Russian sage. So I'm going to transplant this out next early spring or late winter. I'm going to put that somewhere else in my yard, and I think I'm going to replace it with a shorter, brighter, powdery mildew resistant bee balm instead. So I'll still be putting a bee balm there, but not that one. Oh, one more thing I want to mention. On this side, I also have more of the orange tiger lily, and on my last video I mentioned I wasn't sure if it was gonna bloom because I had transplanted it in spring, but it is getting stalks, so we will get flowers out of this clump as well. It's just delayed apparently. Oh, and look, the drumstick alliums are starting to open. Those are so pretty. Those are my first ones. I don't think I put those in a good position. So now that I see them and I see how tall they are and how thin they are, I think what would be great for those is to be planted in amongst maybe like these tiger lilies. So I think what I'll do is next year I'll transplant those and kind of plant them in amongst this, so that, you know, you don't see the foliage as much, but they'll stand up above and along with the orange flowers, since they seem to bloom at the same time. I think that would look really pretty. Totally gonna do that. Some of my cone flowers are opening up and blooming up there. Again, I will take another, I'll go up there and look from the top down view, but this is what it looks like from the bottom of my terrace. Right in this area, you can't really see it. I transplanted 4 Stand By Me clematis. They didn't do great after the transplant. I mean, they're all alive, but there's like grass and stuff growing up and around them, and you just can't really see them. They're not standing out. And after I transplanted them, they kind of drooped and lost form, and only one of them, I think it's this one on the end, has kind of stood up again. So I'm sure that they'll be fine next year, but I think I'm going to plant something around them. I'm thinking maybe yellow daylilies, kind of like right behind them, or maybe even in between them. I want something that kind of like bolsters and holds them up, and then also just something to add yellow to this area, because I don't have a lot of yellow in my garden. I have always been afraid of using yellow, but now that I'm seeing this yellow coneflower, and I don't know the actual name of it, but it's a native, I like it a lot, and I want to add some more yellow. So I'll probably try to add more of that coneflower over here, and I want to add the yellow daylilies in that spot right there, and I think that's going to look really good. What else? Oh, totally got gladiolas blooming right here. These tall gladiolas, they were a mixed bulb package, so I'm not sure what all colors I'm going to get. But it looks like so far we have white, which is really pretty. I just added this little container. That is I guess a coal bucket. I picked it up at my local garden center. It was like 20 bucks. And then I just added some plants to it. So that yellow one that's draping right there, don't know what it's called. I'm sorry. I'll have to look at the tag when I get up there. There's also some coreopsis planted in there. And there's something called false sunflower that has like a variegated leaf that I thought was really cool. So I'll try to get a close-up of those. But once the coreopsis and the false sunflower start blooming, it's going to look pretty cool, I think. Did we cover everything on this level? Oh, these are the dahlias that I talked about last time, and I looked it up online and figured out what has been confusing me about them. So, on these, when you have these long little, these are the dead flower buds. These can be pulled off. These short, round ones are the buds that are still going to open. So now I know, because I was kind of afraid to deadhead them. I didn't really understand what was what, and anyway, now I know what to do with them. I feel better. I've just been pulling off all those dead flower heads, and you know, it's starting to push out more new buds, so that's fantastic. This clump of yarrow here with the red and the pink, I did stake it up. I don't know if you remember, but it was completely collapsed, and you know, things never look really good once they've collapsed and you try to stake them back up, but it's better than it was. I think I just really have to cut this back and try to see if I can get it to reflush out with the second bloom after this, but I don't want to cut it yet. Like, it's starting to look a little bit aged. Like some of these, they get this color instead of the bright new red, but a lot of it still looks nice, so just leaving it for now. My hardy geranium is doing really good. This one is Crystal Lake, and it's like a really light color. Haven't gotten any flowers yet, but super excited. But look at my astilbe. That's looking awesome, and this looks like it's going to flower. I've also never seen flowers on this. My astilbe that's on the second level down there had yellow flowers, so I'm guessing these are probably going to be yellow, but we'll see. The oregano is huge, and it looks like it's going to be flowering. Oh, look, it is starting to open. Okay, so I was expecting these to be pink or purple. They actually appear to be like a white. So that's okay. Let me see what it looks like once it opens up all the way. I just wanted to see if it was pretty so I could decide if I was going to keep it short or let it flower. I think I'm leaning toward letting it flower. All right, moving on. Got lamb's ear over here, just like I did on the other end. This level right here are my 4 o'clocks, and these are looking really good. Now, I don't know if I talked about this on my other video. I planted both sides the same, except for this side got far fewer 4 o'clocks and a lot of grass and weeds. So I'm gonna have to come in here and pull all this grass out. I'm gonna add some compost, and then I'm gonna have to transplant some of those 4 o'clocks over here to balance it out. But I'm very excited about my 2 4 o'clock beds. Those should be kind of like spilling over the edge a little bit when they're, you know, fully grown, and I think that's gonna look really pretty. I have a couple new plants that I wanted to mention as well. I got some new geraniums. They have tiny flowers, and I saw these at my local garden center and just was like, oh my god, I have to have them, because none of my geraniums have ever bloomed. I think what's happened is the past 3 years I've bought what are basically geranium plugs, and then it takes them like a year or two to even reach a size that they will bloom. And so I've had a couple fail, and just a few more that just haven't thrived and have never bloomed for me. So anyway, this version is called Ballerina, and it has lots of flowers, so I'm super excited about that. These beds right here look kind of barren, but once they grow up, we've got a yellow rose in the center. I have some purple and yellow iris back here. They are, I think they're called Miss Saigon. Over here I have a yellow Ito peony, and again this new geranium I just added, which is purple, so it's all yellow and purple themed right here. I have this grape vine that's growing up the side. I like the look of the grapes hanging down from my railing. On this side it is mirrored. I have another grapevine. This one's not as big, obviously. I've got another geranium, another yellow rose. That one's called Chinatown, I think. And then I've got more of the Siberian iris. There's supposed to be more of that, like planted along the whole back wall. So the bulbs that I bought on clearance clearly did not germinate very well. I'm probably just going to have to buy more and add them, because I think I put like 30 or maybe even 60 on each side, and that's all I got. Pretty lame. On this level I have a spirea and a peony. This one is white. This one is pink, and then another spirea. I want to transplant, probably going to move the pink one somewhere else, and next spring I'm probably going to split the white one and put half of it over here, which I know means that they might not bloom, or at least the one that I moved might not bloom. We'll have to see. I also have another grapevine on each side. The reason I have these extra ones is because when I bought these, I didn't realize they were seeded. They have seeds in these, and these do not. So I wanted to have the seedless variety as well. The wildlife can have the seeded ones. This is a pot of blueberries. If you see that yellow stuff in there, I just recently added sulfur to help acidify my soil. This is another blueberry that's in the ground so that they can cross-pollinate. I have a hydrangea over here. Now that I see its blooms, I'm going to have to get back to you guys. Oh, what is it called? Twist and Shout, maybe? I've been waiting for this to bloom so I could figure out which one it is, and I think it might be Twist and Shout. So I'll go back and look at my records. It's my shade garden. Not a whole lot in bloom here, except for these little flowers, which I forget what they're called. I think it starts with a C. I have another one right there. All of my penstemon are suddenly out of bloom, so I think I might cut these seed heads off and see if they'll bloom again. But this little one is a separate plant that you see with blooms on it here. And then this one has purple flowers. This one and this one that have the stakes around them, they're new. They didn't stand up very well. So next year they'll look better. I planted a bunch of delphinium here in this corner. I used to have some Caesar's brother iris over here, and it wasn't blooming well for me. I don't think it was getting enough sun. But I've had this delphinium here for a year or two, and it does bloom. So I figured these ones would as well. So I just added them to this area just to give me more. Oh, let's look at our hydrangeas, because they are really starting to bud up and flower. So this is an Invincible Spirit 2. I think I have 4 or 5 of those. This one is a panicle type. Not sure which one. Another Invincible. How many blooms on it? It's looking great. Another panicle. This is my butterfly magnolia tree. It's still small. I am 5'2". I would say this is probably about 4 feet at this point. Below that I have a Summon Substance hosta. That's just suckers. Another Invincible Spirit. I think this one is also Invincible Bell spirit. So I'm gonna have to move this one because I didn't want two of the same side by side. But when I transplanted them last fall, I wasn't sure because this one didn't have blooms. It was so small. This one is a panicle of some sort. Another Summon Substance Hosta. I don't know what that one's called, but I think it might be Patriot. Another Invincible Spirit too. And over here I have a Ruby. That one is a panicle lace cap. I don't know if these change color, but I added sulfur to all of my roses and all of my hydrangeas got sulfur to help acidify the soil. Some of these have not been washed in yet because my hose doesn't reach this far, and I'm working on rectifying that. This one, I want to say, is another ruby based on the colors I'm seeing. It's quite dark, darker than my... I know I had more than one ruby, I just don't remember how many I bought, and I think one or two of them might have died. This one is a Bobo, which is a panicle. It's not blooming yet. Let's go up here. I don't have many roses on my Zephyrin Druin, but this one's looking pretty. And this is my headboard trellis. I painted white and I think it looks really good. This daylily is budding up. This one is going to have peach colored blooms. This is a Golden Alexander. It's a native plant that had yellow flowers on it earlier in spring and it looked really pretty. I have no idea what this is. I think it might just be a weed, but I'm kind of afraid to cut it down because like it might be something that I want. So I'm just kind of letting it go for now. This is a native plant over here. I want to say it's called Anemone virginiana or something like that. And then down here I have some butterfly weed. This is the pink type. This will be a panicle hydrangea. Not in bloom yet. This one, what the heck are you? Oh, this is one of my new ones, Limetta hydrangea. So I have this labeling system that I'm starting. I don't have enough labels for everything in my garden, but I'm trying to go around and start labeling everything to help me remember, and also, you know, just to anybody who might be curious that's looking. But the gold ones are for plants that are native or nativars, and the silver ones are plants that are not native. So this is a silver buffalo berry shrub, which is also a native. So that's my system. But I need way more tags. Not everything is tagged at all. I have a 9 bark here, which is very tiny, and it is a native. I'm hoping this one grows this year because I'm pretty sure last year was its second year. And it's just super small. Limelight Prime, I just planted that. That's a panicle type. This is like a strawberry vanilla panicle type hydrangea. My carrots are growing with their flowers, looking very pretty. I think that's called Dara. And I just planted a bunch of carrots out here in my yard and they sprouted flowers. That shrub is called Pierce japonica. This one is a new one that I added, and it's some sort of plum, sand plum, or something like that. I'll have to find the tag, I don't remember. But I took out the 2 tiger eye sumac that I had. I explained this in a different video, but I saw them spreading horribly on Garden Answer in her property, and it just freaked me out. So I dug out those tiger eye sumac, and I wanted more of this dark color anyway, like I have with the 9 bark, and then I have a smoke bush down there somewhere. I wanted to add more of this dark color. So this was perfect when I found these two, and they're a native, or a native hybrid at least. So I was happy to add those. This is my Pinky Winky panicle hydrangea. This is what it'll look like probably next year or the year after. This is a PG hydrangea, another Pieris japonica. Here's that other plum sand cherry or whatever it's called. Another carrot flower. I've got a bunch of them in here. I also have started transplanting some cosmos into this bed. I will probably be adding more, but cosmos only do well where they get a lot of sun, and this bed is really only part sun, if not part shade. So I'm not 100% sure how well the cosmos will do, but those two transplanted okay so far. Actually, there's more than that. There's 4, I think. This is my smoke bush, and I love the foliage on this plant, and it is starting to grow fast. I'm expecting this to get quite a bit bigger this year. Let's hope for like 4 feet tall. This is a Rosa Sharon. It's a columnar style with the white flowers. I think it's called white chiffon. I have another one down there that I didn't mention. Not in flower yet, but once this starts blooming, it basically just keeps going until the end of the, season. And then I have one more new hydrangea, which is the Little Lime, another panicle style. Oh, I lied. Here's one more. This is an oak leaf, and it is the Ruby Slippers type. I think this is some kind of juniper, but don't quote me on that. Okay, so that's the hydrangea garden. I want to show you this real quick because this is my biggest hydrangea bloom. This is one that I just planted in this pot here. Where did I order this from? I don't remember, but it's called Let's Dance Lovable, I think. You can see I still need to water that sulfur in. All of these iris right here, a coworker gave me. So I have a bunch more iris to add somewhere. Possibly in this garden somewhere. So to be determined. This is my Astilbe bed. Just have 2 in bloom right now. These dark colored ones, I think they're called Dark Side of the Moon. I only planted those like, I don't know, a few weeks ago. I don't expect them to bloom this year. Then we have some little white begonias kind of popped in there for more color. This is a Empress Wu hosta. Some lamium. I'm a little bit afraid of lamium because I've heard it spread so bad and quickly, but I also think it's really pretty, so I'm not sure that I'm going to mind. And I've also seen it like in pots and containers that look really good. So, if it gets to be too much, I'll just pull it out and start keeping it in pots, I guess. We got some pink veronica here. I've got oriental lilies and some Asiatic lilies as well on both sides. This white plant in here is a new Gara that I planted. This one is Gara as well. Those get like these long white wispy blooms, and you can kind of like see through them. They wave around. It reminds me of grass sort of in its behavior, but it's really pretty. I've got several elephant ears planted here. I just love elephant ears, and yeah. So I've got a variety of those. Got some pink begonias. I'm not sure I love the warm pink of this color next to that more cool pink. So I'm kind of debating. I might move these pink begonias out, put them somewhere else. We'll see. Have some white impatiens. And then I have the purple flowers I showed you in my shade garden. This is the same kind of flower, but white. I put it in the back here because I think it's supposed to spread out like a ground cover. So hopefully that just kind of starts moving in between the plants and everything. This really chartreusey green is the Aphrodite sweet shrub. It should get really big, like 8 to 10 feet tall eventually. But I had moved it at the beginning of spring, and it just looks like it's taken a while to recover. It is doing fine. It's doing better, but it'll look better in the future. And then I've got my pretty in pink Eden climbing roses here. There's one here, and one over there. The idea is to eventually have those go up on my railing. Got another white Gara there that I just popped in. I don't remember what kind of iris this is because I don't think it ever bloomed for me. Where I had this before, I don't think it got enough sun. So I've moved it, and this is like its second or third year. So I'm hoping it's gonna actually bloom. And I'm hoping that it's this one that was like kind of multicolored, like pink and purple and kind of some yellow and stuff mixed into it. But I think that's what that might be. I have some dahlias here. Have buds but have not opened yet. And then over this way, we've got my fountain. Oh, my butterfly bush is starting to bloom. This is Miss Molly. I swear to you, this is my last butterfly bush. If this one doesn't make it, I'm not buying anymore. I've already been through, I think, 3 or 4 of them. Plus, they're considered invasive in some parts of the country. I'm not sure if mine is one of them, but it just makes me feel very iffy about growing it at all. But I think they're beautiful, so I'm giving it one last shot. I bought this phlox right here. This is a new type, so I just added it to my clump. But like I have this one and this clump here are different types. I don't remember. I think they're like a lighter pink color and maybe a light purple. I'm gonna move these cosmos to my other section of my garden. I just haven't done it yet. So that's what that is. And then this is the first bloom that I've had on this rose, which is called Bolero. And it's supposed to stay fairly short, like 2 to 3 feet tall rose. And I planted it in front of this other rose that I have that should get quite a bit bigger. That's Princess Charlene de Monaco. This shrub in the back doesn't have any roses on it, but it's called John Cabot. It's a climbing rose. And then I have a New Dawn climbing rose over there. So that's everything in this garden. This is my black lace elderberry shrub, which I'm going to, the part that's starting to grow this way, I'm going to cut that off. I want it to stay kind of flat and wide against that porch railing. Almost done. I have lots of blooms on this iceberg rose, but I need to go through and deadhead because some of them are looking pretty old. This is Distant Drums, which is beautiful, and I love the name of it. This one's kind of old. Let's get that off of there. But isn't that pretty? Distant Drums. Love it. I have, looking at the garden from above, like I said we would, we've got some dahlias up here that are blooming. And then you can see my purple coneflowers and some cosmos. And yeah, just all the stuff I pointed out from below. This is what it looks like from above. Got some bachelor's button hiding in there. That's reseeded from last year. And a bunch of cosmos. Like I've been saying, if they're not in the front of the border, I'm just leaving them and seeing how it looks as the border develops. But I definitely don't want them in the front because it just looks too messy. So the ones that are popping up toward the front, like these, I'm going to end up transplanting those over to my prairie garden. That daisy looks really pretty. Let's get a better view of that. Isn't that pretty? And then this is like my little vegetable garden that I'm only doing this year because I decided at the last moment to plant some tomatoes and basil and, you know, some other companion plants basically. I think I have dill in here, or no, it's cilantro. I have some nasturtiums and I have some alyssum. All of the plants that are planted in here are supposed to be good companion plants for tomatoes. And the only reason I put them here is because from the road, you can't really tell. These are up against this hedge. And this is full south facing, so it gets really good sun. And the place where I'm going to be putting my vegetable garden is not currently available. It's kind of like I'm working on it. It's under construction. So next year the vegetable garden will be in a different place, but this year I figured I would go ahead and use that space since I wasn't using it and put those tomatoes there. And then I'm going to, by the end of the summer or early fall, I'm going to be buying more roses and planting more roses in here. So once I'm done with the tomatoes, tear those out, and that's what's going to go in there. That is really it. I just thought I would show you real quick where the vegetable garden is going to go next year, which is right behind my shed. So it is currently my compost area, and it's going to be a really big, hard task, but I need to get it done. I need to push all of that to the back because it's just full of plant waste and everything. I need to push all of that toward that back fence. And then I have a raised bed that I already purchased, and I'm going to put this big raised bed right here, and then I'm going to start filling it in with this garden stuff. And then I'm going to get 3 more raised beds that are going to run this way. And eventually I want to take this fence down once I have the raised beds in, and I'm going to put everything in the raised beds, let that break down. I'm going to end up planting on top of that over the winter. That's where I'm going to do my winter sowing. I have some windows that I'm going to place on top of those. They're in my garage right now. So it's going to make excellent beds for winter sowing. And then during the summer, I will grow my vegetables in there. So that's the plan. The only reason I didn't use that space to begin with is because it's on the north side of my shed. And I thought that it wouldn't get enough sun. But actually during the summer, the sun is nearly directly overhead. And so it turns out that this area does get enough sun, and that would be the best place to put my vegetables. It's also, it's out of sight. It's like toward the back of my house. It's along this alley. And so, it's not that vegetable gardens are ugly, but they're not as pretty as our flower beds and whatnot. So yeah, I think that's definitely going to be the best place for it, and that's the plan. All right, everybody. Well, thank you for stopping by if you're watching, and please like and subscribe. I only have 8 subscribers, and I am grateful for every one of you, and I hope to have more soon. All right, see you next time. Bye.